welcome everybody. Welcome so much to the Racing the Planet information session. I'm speaking from here from Lapland. My name is Riitta Hänninen and I'm one of the many Racing the Planet crew. And I also happen to come from Finland. So that may be one of the reasons why we will finally have a race here. And we still have 4.5 months to the race. So there's time. There's a lot of time for you to still train and prepare. And I know many of you have been training for a long time already. Some of you, unfortunately, more than 2 years because of this COVID situation. But I also know that there's some of you there that have not even started yet. And both is actually absolutely fine. The main thing is just that you feel comfortable yourself and you enjoy the preparation, because it's not just about the end, it's about the whole journey. And the journey is already on. All right, so this information session, we just want to make sure that you're well on track and you feel like your planning is going according to it, and trying to make it as easy as possible for you. And therefore, we'll go through the race preparations with you now. And as said, this session is going to be recorded. It will be available on YouTube to watch later on. So for those who can't make it or want to watch it again, you can do that. I wanted to, now that everyone's here, I wanted to introduce the team that we have here from Racing the Planet. So just feel free to say hi. Our founder, Mary Adams, is here. And then also my colleagues, race directors, Sam Fanshawe and Zaina Haroon are here as well.
Hi, everyone.
Hello. Hi, everybody.
And you get to meet us in the race as well. Then a quick check, is Carlos Garcia here already?
Hi there, I'm the one you are going to hate.
So just to open that a little bit, Carlos is our course director and he's also designed this course for us in Lapland. So feel free to hate him then after the race, but most people actually love him. Carlos is later on going to tell a little bit about the course. And then let's see, is Charlie Engel here?
Yes, I am.
Hi, Charlie.
Hey, Rita, good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you finally too. Charlie actually did our first race in Gobi in China, Gobi Desert in 2003. And the circle kind of closes because now this is, next year will be our 20th year. And it's really great to see you back here.
Well, thankfully, that means, I don't know what that means. I guess it means I'm getting older, but I'm pretty certain I'm not going to win this one, but I'm going to have a great time.
That's the most important thing. And not just Charlie, but there's actually on this session, we have others of you who have also been in that first race and many of our races. So about 50% of you are first timers and another 50 are those of you who have done so many of our races before. So thanks so much for coming back. And those who are new, you got to get to know these guys, because already before the race they can give you some really good tips. All right, moving on. So this is what we're going to talk about today. So briefly, the race schedule and logistics. We'll cover the course, talk about weather, because in Finland we tend to talk a lot about weather. You can guess why. We go over the equipment that you need to carry in your backpack. We may or may not talk about COVID. We've spoken about it so much that I feel that if we are running out of time, we can send you those details by email as well. But let's see how we go. And then we give you time to ask your questions as well. So greetings from my morning hike this morning. This is where I was. So I'm based in Ylläs at the moment. And in that picture, you see the finish line on the top right-hand corner is where you will finish this race. And in the beginning, I want to explain, a lot of people ask, what is a fell? So in this picture, you see 3 fells. And they are sort of mountain-like shapes, bumps, I could also call them bumps. Not quite as high as mountains often, and they are rounded in shape. But Lapland is covered by these gorgeous fells, and the course very much goes in this area. So as you can see that we have a lot of snow still, we just got a ton of more, but I can promise you that you don't need to bring snowshoes for this race. So then, so what's the race? Just briefly, I hope that by now most of you know what the race is about, but if you don't know, so all of our races are 250 kilometers, 155 miles. They are 6 stages and 7 days long. And we keep this format the same just because there's a lot to prepare for these races already. So having a set format makes it a lot nicer for everybody. This roving race, or what we call RacingThePlanet Ultra, it's the 13th edition, takes place in Lapland, and this is something that complements the Four Deserts race series. So the Four Deserts take place almost all of them annually, and they are in set locations. And then to complement this, we want to give something new and fresh also to those who have done many races before, and also to show you areas that aren't necessarily deserts. So why Lapland? Lapland's not a desert officially, it's a wilderness, and it's the last wilderness in Europe. We've got so much space here and so much beautiful things to see that it's just obvious that we wanted to show it to you as well. It is a bucket list item for many. The race is format, so it's a foot race and it's marked, and in every 10 kilometers, so about 6 miles, we have a checkpoint where you will get water to continue your stage, and there's also a medical doctor and our staff to look after you if needed. The race is marked, so in this picture also you see there's a pink flag. So typically the marking is pink tape or pink flag, and usually a line of sight. So this means that basically you don't need to navigate or don't need to orienteer. And then there are campsites. So after each stage, you will finish at a campsite where there's a campfire, tents that will provide, and it's a wonderful time. We get to sit by the campfires in the evenings and chat. Typically, for start times, the race will start at 8 o'clock in the morning, unless there's a reason not to. And the fastest runner would usually come through to the next camp at about 12 noon. And those who enjoy and take it easier and take a lot of photos, they will finish the stage at about 6 to 8 p.m. Now, so here is the map of Finland. We are right on the east side of Sweden, and this is basically where you see the key locations for the race. And let me see if I can show you my mouse. So here, so Helsinki down in the south is our capital, and this is where most of you would be flying into. Then Rovaniemi up here, right on the Arctic Circle, is the capital of Lapland, and it's also the arrival town for the race. The race itself will take in the Pallas-Ylläs National Park, which I'm highlighting up in the north. It's inside it and outside it, and when the race will finish in Ylläs, which is about here, we will then drive everyone to the official Finnish town of Levi, and that is just about 1 hour bus drive. And the airport closest to the Finnish town is called Kittilä, and from Kittilä you can then fly back or return to Rovaniemi. So your options basically, I'm going to come out of just a moment. Yeah, so your options basically are that you can book, if you fly, which most of you do, you can take a round trip to Rovaniemi, from Helsinki to Rovaniemi, and there are usually 4 flights per day. And if you do so, then after the race on Sunday morning about 10 a.m., we have a shuttle bus that you can book to, and that will get you back to Rovaniemi for the 2 p.m. flight. If you have already booked flights from Rovaniemi that are different times, then you can let us know and we'll help to, so you can arrange your shuttle or bus. So that's one way. Another way is that you book a one-way flight from Helsinki to Rovaniemi, and then you book another one-way flight from Kittilä to Helsinki. And that way you don't need a bus at all. If you have more time to spend in Finland and in Lapland, then there are plenty of domestic travel options. So you can use train, take a train from Helsinki to the north. There's also a bus network that's quite regular and wide. And then if you really want to see the country, I really recommend renting a car, and especially after the race, it's a really nice way to explore the country. We have 200,000 lakes in this country, lots of campsites, and the summer is really the freshest up in Scandinavia. Many festivals, a lot of nice things to do. And you can also quickly drive to Sweden and also to Norway. So from the race area, for instance, it's only 4-hour drives to 4 to 5 hour drive to Narvik in Norway, northern Norway. So a lot of scenery that you can see in quite a short time. Then just general about travel. So for this race, you need to have an insurance that covers you for hospitalization and medical evacuation. And also a general travel insurance is just good to have. Visa-wise, Finland's a very relaxed country and we don't like too much paperwork. So most nationalities, especially if you are from the EU or Schengen area, you can just come in, nothing needed. But if you are, actually also the US. But if you are from other countries, then just double check whether you need a visa, a tourist visa. And then entry COVID-wise, so at the moment, actually, a PCR test is not even needed, but these things can change. And actually, just so you know, we still keep a safe travel policy. So for our race, every participant must have been fully vaccinated. And we'll also ask you to take a COVID test before the race, before arriving to Camp 1. But not to worry too much yet. We will give you the details of how to get that done then a little bit closer to the race. Okay, then the race itinerary. So these are reminders for you, and this information is all available on the competitor area of the website. And the document to read is called the Essential Race Information Document. So on Friday, we'll meet. So please be in Rovaniemi by the 12th of August on Friday. And there's actually no official meeting that day, but you'll sleep the night at the hotel. And then the next day, Saturday, 13th of August, we'll meet. So plan is at the moment, and I emphasize that these plans can change a little bit depending on COVID situation, but at the moment, we plan to have breakfast and then go to buses, and the buses will take you straight to camp. And this is where we'll have the official race briefing and the gear check-in as well. And this means that you need to have everything for the race with you before we even leave. So ideally get these items before you even leave your home country. If you have missed something or lost your luggage or anything like that, Rovaniemi is what we call a city in Finland. So there are shops there, you can buy things, but to avoid last minute stress, it's always better that you have everything before you even travel. Saturday afternoon and night we'll spend in Camp 1. And while you are there, you can learn how to pronounce Farkhamukka, which is the name of the campsite. It's right after the Pallasfell. This is how the camps will work. So there are no showers or charging or no comforts really in the camps. You have your own freeze-dried food and snacks there, and we'll just give you hot and cold water. So very, very basic self-supported race. And then Sunday 14th of August is the start of the race, and that is planned to take place at 8 a.m. Then we have the race, but then specifically looking after the race, what will happen is Saturday is 20th of August, we'll finish the race in Ylläs, also right under the Ylläsfell. And we will then drive you by buses and take you to the Finnish hotel, Sokos Hotel Break in Levi, and your luggage will be here waiting for you. There will be an awards banquet. Usually it's in the evening at the hotel, but if needed be, it may be in a different place at a different time. So small details like that will be confirmed. And then Sunday you're free to leave, and I really hope that many of you will continue traveling in Finland and in the Scandinavian areas, but you are free to go on Sunday anywhere you like to go. So this is the plan. I will hand over to Carlos to talk about the course if you're ready, Carlos.
Okay. Okay. So first thing I want to say is that it's funny because actually trail running started with not with that name, but actually the original name was fell running. And it's many people say that it started in England, like running in similar hills like we are going to be running on, and that Rita was saying that they call fells. So you will enjoy running over the Ilas Talastunturi National Park fells that are very amazing. And the second thing I want to say is that Rita passed it like really quickly over that, but I think it's amazing that all of the race, the full race, is going to be over the Arctic Circle. Okay, the Arctic Circle is in latitude in 66 north, 66 degrees and 33 minutes, and the whole race is going to be in the north part of that. So probably we won't be able to see like northern lights or something like that because it's not the season, but it is a good place to see them. Actually, I see many pictures that Rita or some people that we know already from the area that send us, and it's absolutely amazing. It's incredible to see. Okay, let's start with the race and the track. That is what we are here for. So as Rita was saying before, the race is going to be 250 kilometers, and more or less all the stages are going to be around 40 kilometers each one, with an average of maybe 1,500 elevation gain each. Although it's probably going to change because we have to adjust some sections, and there might be some changes. Anyway, the stage one is probably going to be a little bit tougher than usual because we are going to be climbing and running over the highest fells in the Palace Ilastunturi National Park. And that will give us an amazing view from the top of the fells, because you will see all the landscape, all the forest in the lower lands, and that is absolutely very, very nice to see. And the top of the fells is it's a path. It's not like super technical, but there are some sections that we will have like rocks, and we will have to like jump over the rocks and everything. And but it's not like highly technical thing. On stage one, we will be passing by Taivasquero Peak. And Taivasquero Peak, the curiosity is that is when they started the Olympic flame in the Helsinki Winter Games of 1952. And it's like a small monument, and we will go through it, and then we will head down to Palace Hotel and to the campsite. I was looking at like checking out the campsite. It's funny because it's a lot of different works of the area. So some campsites are going to be in lumberjack areas where they used to work, the lumberjacks. Some others are going to be in fishermen villages. Some others are going to be in reindeer separation corrals. So we are going to experience the area where every single worker in the north part of Finland is well, they do their work, which is I think is very nice. I like this part of Racing the Planet races, where it's not only a matter of the race, but also a matter of experiencing the local culture. And I think that is basic, and that is the big difference between this Racing the Planet races and other races from like other companies, that they don't look at these things. And I love this. And okay, so we've said that stage one is a little shorter, it's 35 kilometers, and but it's going to we have to like finish the details, but it's probably going to be like around 2,500 elevation gain, so a little bit over the average, because we are going to be running on top of the fells. Okay, so you can see the elevation gain here, the profile of the course, and as you can see, it's like quite higher than the other ones, but it's not like super highly technical terrain, so it's quite easy to run on stage. Let me check that. On stage 2, on stage 2. Let me see. Okay, so we are going to be running on the lower part, the south part of the fells of the Islas Tunturi, and we will still going over the fells where there are Rita, help me with that. How do you call the berries? No.
There's so many berries. Which ones? We have at least 5 that will be.
So many berries. So you will love it, because you can actually eat them from the plants, and they are very good. So you will have like refreshment, like wow, like water points where you can eat all over Finland. And stage 2 will finish in a campsite where the lumberjacks used to work, and hopefully we can use that campsite, and it's a very, very nice campsite. Then we will keep on running. Oh, by the way, Rita mentioned it as well, that but Finland is the second country in the world with more lakes. I'm not sure, and you will pass running by so many lakes, but the thing is that I'm not sure about the swamps. I don't know if there is a ranking of the number of swamps, but unfortunately you will pass by many swamps. So be ready for that, and have an extra pair of socks, or waterproof socks or something like that, that will be very handy to have it. And that mainly obviously is on the lower land. When you are in top of the fells, the terrain is usually very nice and dry, and you can run on without any problem. The finish line of the stage, this is stage 1, this is stage 2, the camp 3 is going to be a fisherman village. We are going to be in like a little, it's not an island, but it looks like a very tiny island. And there is a very, very old fisherman village where like a small cabins that they were using for like keeping their things and even sleeping some nights there. And I love this place. I think it's very, very nice. Then we will keep on running on the south, like mixing. You will run on duck boards. Duck boards is the what you've seen in the first picture that Rita showed you, and it's like 2 pieces of wood. Like normally they are built to avoid the swamps. So you can in Finland there is an amazing life outside the houses, so everybody's going like in the field, in the countryside, like for running, walking, bicycle, everything. And as they have so many swamps, they build this system that I haven't seen any other place in the world, that are the 2 pieces of wood along like very long stretches of trails. Like when they are in the lower lands, they we run on these duck boards, and I think they are very, very nice to run on that. And then we keep on going to the south. Camp number 4 is going to be in a reindeer fence. Normally once a year they put all the reindeers, they gather them and they put them in certain areas where they collect all of them, and they choose the females, the males, whatever, when they have to mate or whatever, and they do it like once a year. And we will be camping in one of these places, so you can see it. It's very typical. Arriving before of that, there is we are using the postal road. That is one road that they used to not anymore, but they used to send the post from one country, from one village to another. And but the road is almost lost. As usual, Racing the Planet, we use quite a lost and in the middle of nowhere roads. So then we will visit all meals, and but what I like most in Finland, like wrecking this race, is the forest. I think these are the most beautiful forests I ever seen. I mean, it's like absolutely amazing. Such amazing trees, and the ones that are interested in fungi. You will have this. I mean, this is like a paradise. You will have like so many of that. And regarding animals, there are not any like dangerous animals. You will find for sure reindeers, like a lot of reindeers, but they are not dangerous at all. So you can be relaxed on that. And the rest of the course is like mostly in between lakes and forest, and the lower part we won't have fells for now, but maybe we can put some surprises so you can hate me at your will. But mainly the terrain is going to be like not very difficult, but very nice. I don't know if there is anything in particular that you want me to speak about, Rita.
No, I think you've covered very well. I did try to show the map as well when you started. Did you see the map?
No, I didn't see it. I was in another screen. I was with my map trying to remember all the.
Just in case, I can actually. Okay, never mind. We can. I'll try to show it at the end.
Okay.
I think no, you covered it all. I suppose I put a slide here with some of the facts on terrain as well. And I guess personally, I wanted to give a tip that this trail, for instance, here looks very easy, but so approximately 55% would be on trails or open fell scenery or somewhere completely in sort of more challenging than gravel road. And the roots and rocks that we have, they can be quite tiring, and the pox and the lichen moss can be quite soft as well. So in this race, especially, having good leg strength is a good thing. It's even though it doesn't look technical, but it feels technical in your muscles. So that would be my personal tip.
Okay.
Thank you, Carlos. Anything else you want to add?
Not for now.
Don't tell them where you live. Okay, so
Carlos, can I ask, whilst you're talking about the course, quickly, the river crossings part, can you give people a bit more information on what to expect?
If you look at the right side, top right picture there, I would not focus so much on river crossings. There's a picture of the wetland, and there can be those at times. So it's like being in a river crossing all the time.
Yeah, it's not actually rivers as the rivers when they arrive to the lower lands, like a normal river. It goes like straight in the riverbed, but here in Finland the riverbed doesn't exist, or they like spread a lot and they become swamps. So in some areas we try to avoid them and try to make them as less as possible. But in some areas there is no way to escape unless we have the duckboards that I was telling you about, that you can see in the picture, Rita running on one of them, and the rest of the area is going to be swampy. So some places there is no way to avoid it, and then that meaning that we have to like deal with it and try to try to not get wet is practically impossible. So
So a question from the chat. So how deep generally, you can see in this picture, but is that sort of how deep it gets?
knee deep on the maximum. No, it's not like, I mean, you are not going to lose your shoe or I mean, you don't have to learn to swim or something like that. No, it's not dangerous. I mean, it's just, you just get wet, but normally they are not that deep. They are like, normally they are ankle deep. It's just a lot of water and there is no way to avoid it, but it's not very deep at all.
Great, thanks. That was a good question. If we are done with the course, thank you, Carlos, then
Yeah.
we can move to weather. So in your preparation, this is the other important thing to think about. So we are above Arctic Circle all the time, and that means that weather can be all sorts. We have picked the season that's most friendly for you, so no need for snowshoes, but we're expecting it to be still warm. So August is one of the warmest months, and it's also the driest month. We actually have 8 seasons in Lapland. So for winter, we have 2 parts, and summer we have 2 parts, and so on. So that makes it very fascinating. And August, middle of August is starting to be the harvest time. So we're entering autumn, and that means the nature is getting really, really colorful with all those berries and mushrooms that Carlos mentioned as well. The daytime temperatures we usually expected are from 15 to 22 Celsius degrees, and you can see the Fahrenheit equivalent on the screen. And nighttime, it cools down to about 5 to 10 degrees, but it can be colder than that. And that's why you're carrying, and you must carry a backpack that's rated down to 0 Celsius degrees comfort rating to keep you warm. And then rapid changes, so we can have weather changing from sun to rain. It gets very windy, can be very windy on the fells, and there could even be hail. So that's sort of the worst cold weather you can expect, but it's unlikely. I would say in August it's unlikely. Sunrise and sunset times are it's very light. We have just passed the midnight sun season where the sun actually doesn't go down at all. So it starts going down, but only for that short period of time. So sunrise is at 4:30 in the morning, and then sunset is at 10 o'clock. So virtually it means that you can still see at 11 in the evening, you can still see well. And there's always questions about northern lights. So in August, yes, it's possible to see them. You can see aurora when the sun activity, the aurora activity, and the weather cooperates. So that means that you have to have a clear night, and it means that it has to be dark. So if you are up between midnight and about 2 a.m., 3 a.m., you may be able to see the aurora. And during this race, we're going to set up an alert, an application, which you can download for yourself as well. And that application would then give warnings about aurora. Sorry, I forgot that we have a rule of no phones for leisure use. So actually, I will have that alert on, and I will let you know if there's an aurora activity happening. So it's possible, but I would say that it's not the top time for northern lights yet. So, but there's a possibility. Okay, we can move into equipment. So I hope that many of you have already looked at the list. There are some crew members here, so I remind that this is for racers. Crew has a different list. So there are 37 mandatory equipment items on the list, and this is designed not to keep you too comfortable, but comfortable enough and safe in this race. And that's why you have to have this all. You can download this list on our website. And in this list, there's a page for every item with pictures that you can see, and you should read the descriptions as well. Besides this, there's also the drop bag that is mandatory, and it's like a safety bag. So the rule is that you'll give it the drop bag and the safety content, which is more warm clothing, basically. You'll give it to us at the beginning of the race. And after that, you will not see that bag until the end of the race. That is if the weather is good. But if we have emergency weather or really, really bad weather, then at our approval, you may have access to it. But don't expect to see it. And also remember, only pack those items that are on the drop bag list. I will not even give you ideas what you could put in there. Okay, then some key items. So shoes obviously are important. And for these items, actually, I hope that you have already got these, or if not, then please buy them as soon as possible so you can start training and trying and making sure they fit you well. So shoes, so just normal trail running shoes with quite a good grip on the sole, and definitely no Gore-Tex is recommended. Backpack should be about 30 liters is a good size, 25 to 30 liters. That way you can fit everything in. And a good backpack is a backpack that has many pockets that you're able to reach and get items easily from it. And of course, comfortable backpack. Hydration system. So most people wear 2 bottles with bottle holders at the front of the backpack. And each bottle is usually 750 ml. So that means you have a total of 1.5 liters at the front. And then we require that you have an capacity for an additional liter. But that can be a bladder that you put in the backpack and you don't use it unless you need to. And of course, electrolytes. So even though it's a cooler weather race, you still need to have your electrolytes. And please, when you train, please use them as well so you get used to them. And food, also test the food already during your training, even the freeze-dried meals. Make some of them and try them. Try that you can be sure you like the flavors and you see how your stomach reacts. Because one of the biggest reasons why people don't finish the race is GI issues, so stomach issues. And electrolytes and food has everything to do with that. I put in face mask as well. It's a simple item, but it's there. Next year, hopefully we'll not have that there anymore. Optional items to consider. So sleeping pad, it is on the optional side, but I would almost say like it should be mandatory. Please bring it, because when weather is cold, you need it to isolate yourself from the cold ground. So the tents that we provide don't have other than a very, very thin plastic floor. So you need to stay warm, and the better you sleep, the better you race. Trekking poles are very good, especially if you plan to walk if you plan to walk more than half of the course. They are very handy. And also in case you get injured, it's really, those really help your race. They support you and support your legs. Eating bowl is a small item, but a lot of people choose to eat directly from the freeze-dried food pouch, but obviously a bowl makes it easier. And then there are some COVID safety items. If you want, you can bring an extra sleeping bag, because we may keep the tent doors open, and that way, you know, there's just more airflow. But with the extra sleeping bag, you will keep yourself warmer. If you prefer, you can also bring your own tent. So at the moment, we plan to have maximum of 6 people in a tent. It may also be less than that, but maximum of 6. If you feel like you want to be extra secure, you can have your own single person tent. But if you do bring it, you must be able to set it up yourself and also pack it down in the mornings. And then we will transport it for you from camp to camp. Extra food pre-race. This is something that we will not request you to bring now. It may be just in case some regulations change, but for now, don't worry about that. Okay, then some Lapland specific items. So layers I put in there, it's not an item, it's a layer, only for the reason that in these cold countries, we tend to wear layers all the time. And it just means that as you get hot out on the course or you get cold, it means that it's easy to take off or add layers. So think about that when you plan what kind of clothing you wear. and also having those items easily available in your backpack. So for instance, if the morning is warm, you may put your windbreaker jacket away, but actually don't put it far away, because in the next moment you may need it again. Same goes with zippers. Windbreaker jacket and wind trousers that have zippers are really good to have in Lapland. Merino wool is a good material. It keeps you dry. When you sweat, it takes the most out of your skin, but it's also warm, but it's also cool. So it's a really versatile material. Shoes, I also already mentioned, no Gore-Tex shoes, because when you're in a swamp or wetland, they will still get wet through the ankles. And when they get wet, they will not get dry. So that's why just normal trail running shoes are better. But you can buffer that up by bringing good quality, fast drying socks. And for instance, merino is a good material in socks. I have gotten a lot of questions about mosquitoes, and we do call them our Air Force. We have a lot of mosquitoes, but the worst timing for mosquitoes is actually in June. And this is one of the reasons why the race is in August, is that there are a lot less of mosquitoes and their other relatives up in the air. The tents we have, they have basic zippers and basic nets in the doors. But I recommend that if you're not from this part of the world, consider bringing a mosquito net and some mosquito spray. The net can be a head net, but it can also be a full body net for your sleeping purposes. That's definitely not a bad idea. And the net doesn't weigh anything, so it's a small item to have to ensure your comfort. And then small thing, but thin hotel slippers that we often see in our desert races are not such a good idea in this race. So if you have some more substantial slippers or Crocs, that would be better. But that's up to you. And the gray text there is just so that I can see it, but you can't see it. This is something we don't currently ask, but since Carlos mentioned the wetlands, we may add this in your drop bag. So to be confirmed very soon. I will see how we go with time. I will skip this slide and I will send these details to you by email, because I think a lot of you already know and have thought about this, and we've spoken about COVID a lot. I'll just quickly show you the tents. So canvas tents where we will sleep, maximum of 6 people. And we may also, weather depending, set up some extra pop-up checkpoint tents for you without the sides where you can sleep if it is warm. Okay, some frequently asked questions and comforting facts as well for you. So what's the withdrawal rate in the race? It very much depends on a race, but I would say generally from 6% to 20%. Usually this gets higher if it's a very hot weather race, like a desert race. Cold can be unmotivating, but it rarely stops people from going on. The biggest reasons are, one is foot issues and blister issues. And this is a good thing, because that means preventing blisters is also easy when you know enough beforehand and when you prepare yourself well. So learn about foot care, learn about taping, and in the race, when you get the first hot spot, then stop and take care of it. That is what keeps you in the race. Another big reason, I've mentioned GI issues, stomach issues, and there's a couple of things to that. One is pace yourself. So don't push yourself too much, because that throws off your stomach. And the other thing is keep eating and drinking regularly. So that's something that you need to learn during your training. Take small sips of water all the time with electrolytes, or oftentimes, and keep eating so that your blood sugar will stay on a good level. Mosquitoes we already spoke about. Northern Lights we already spoke about. Okay, and some facts. So you may feel like you're not ready, and that's okay, because there's never a good time to do anything. So I'm just really happy that you're signed up, and you have a lot of time to prepare. And it's just good to do good things in life, rather than think about them too much. Also remember that it's better to be undertrained than overtrained. And by overtraining, I mean when you get to the point that you've trained so much that you're nearly getting injured. And that's what can happen to you quite easily. So don't get too greedy, but just be comfortable and feel well. And I think at the race, everything will be fine. This is especially for those of you who are doing your first race. And it's 90% mental, and they say the rest is in your head. Really, when you train well, this helps you. So prepare well, and then leave the rest in it, and believe in yourself, and your mind will take over, and the good memories will follow after that. And once you're at the start line, and you're so done with carrying that stupid backpack in your training, but when you see everybody else there, it all starts making sense. So have you got any questions? I will need to, actually, you can just unmute yourself when you ask the question.
Rita, this is Mary. Hi, I have a question that I sort of saw out there. Are there any ticks in the area?
So in Lapland, actually, not usually. The ticks have moved forward more to north with climate change, but so far mostly in south of Finland. So as of now, I would say that you don't need to worry. And also there's not that much bush up in the north.
Can I add on to that question also from the chat? Lots of people asking about leeches or similar type insects in the swamps. Is there anything people need to worry about?
No leeches here. That's one good thing.
Or anything else? Creatures in the swamps?
No, I mean, even our wildlife, it goes away from you. So you will see reindeer, but anything bigger than that will always pretty much go away. And in the swamps, not that anything that would be an issue that I know of. Mosquitoes is really the one, and then the little, what I think you call midges, and then other relatives that we have, but as said, a lot less in August.
So would you recommend bringing mosquito repellent?
Yeah, I still do, because I think that those of you who live in more south aren't necessarily so used to. So it's a small thing to carry for the comfort that it brings.
And one more question from the, or clarification from the chat about the swamps. Maybe it's a question for Carlos as well. So we got the depth and sort of how they work, but are they going to be every day? And what kind of, like, how much of the race is likely to be with your feet in the water like that?
Well, I can give you a number, like not now, but I can send you a number so you can put it somewhere. But I would say maybe not in stage 1, but mostly in all of the other stages, you will have sooner or later, we will have to cross the swamp. Yeah. So yeah, mainly every day. But I mean, they are quite short, because normally you have to think that it's obviously in the lower lands, as I was saying, but many of the areas where there are swamps, there are also duck boards. So we are going to be running on the duck boards, okay? But the problem is that in some places the duck boards are gone, or they like broken, or they didn't even put the duck boards there because there's not many people like walking on that path. So that means that we will have to use whatever path we have, and sometimes we will cross the swamp. So, but it's not like something dangerous or anything like that. The thing is that, as we already know, to avoid the blisters, so we have the trilogy, no? It's like humidity, wet, friction, and heat, no? And if we take rid of any of these three, then you will like reduce very much the possibility of blisters. And in this race, we will have humidity for sure. So we have to take care of the other ones.
And maybe I can add to that, that I suppose good news for everybody is that the national park did not allow us one section of the course that was the most swampy one ever. So now that that's gone, we have a little bit, quite a bit less swamp actually. And the other thing was that on the gear list, there is something we mentioned is considering sealskin socks. And those are the waterproof socks, and they are quite commonly used by people who orienteer in Finland. So people who would run everywhere in forest and wetlands, they are quite popular. But if you bring them, choose a model that's long, like half calf at least, longer the better, and train with them just to be sure that you your feet and skin gets comfortable with them.
I have to say that I didn't know these socks, and I knew them in when I was there in the recce. And there is another British brand that is called Bridgedale, and they are both waterproof socks. And the sensation when you are using them is like a little bit strange because they are quite thick, because it's like a 3-layer sock. So it's a little bit strange, but once you get used to it, it's quite comfortable, and it worked. I mean, it works very, very well. I try them, and I don't get my feet wet at all. But as Rita was saying, I would choose the highest one.
For those in the chat who had those questions, if you've got more or that didn't answer them, please ask.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Oh, great. Can you recommend a particular mosquito repellent, please?
Yeah, so I think just generally stronger the better. I'm trying to, is it DEET? DEET, I believe, is the ingredient that is in the stronger ones. That's quite efficient. I can later on share some brands that we have here in Finland. Actually, that is one of the things, if you want to buy from here, it's widely available, but also the ones in your home country, I'm sure will work well.
I think, as far as I know, there is a brand that I think is international that is called Relic. And I tried that several places and it works pretty well.
And I have another question. Sorry if I missed this earlier, and it's repeating, but how often are there water stops, please, during the race?
So approximately in every 10 kilometers. In the beginning of the race, we will likely have a section where there is not like a full setup for water for maybe even 20 kilometers, but we will manage that. And actually also because the rule is that you need to carry containers worth for 2.5 liters with you. That's actually plenty.
Thank you.
I have a question as well, very quickly. I haven't done one of these races before. So what's the related question? What is the humidity level during that time in August? And then in terms of carrying shirts, if it's very humid, do your shirts dry out overnight, or do you just carry an extra one?
Yeah, that's a really good question. Actually, I need to look up the average and I can post it after this, but it changes actually and really depends on rain. So August can be quite dry, and if it's dry, I would say maybe about 50%, 40% humidity. But if it's a rainy day, then, and especially after that, it can, and the forests tend to maintain the moist in the air. So it can be up to 80, 85%, if not more.
One other question, Rita, somebody saying, are there still places available if they haven't signed up yet?
We can still squeeze people in. So the best thing is just to fill in a registration, and then we'll be in touch. And in terms of preparation time, so for someone who's already doing things and generally sporty and fit, it's not a problem at all. 4.5 months is actually still a lot of time.
And one more question, sorry. Can you just explain briefly to people how the long stage works with the overnight checkpoint?
Yeah, so the long stages will be around 80 kilometers. That's 50, I think it's 50, 55 miles. And normally, the checkpoints will be as normal in every 10 kilometers. But then about halfway to the race, to the stage, there will be a checkpoint where we'll also give hot water. So we call that an overnight checkpoint. And that means that you can stay there a bit longer. You can even sleep a bit if you want, and you can make a meal for yourself. So plan to have a soup or freeze-dried meal or something like that for the long stage, especially if you plan to go it a bit slower than sort of 10 kilometers per hour, like the fastest people would do.
Couple of questions, if I may.
Mm-hmm.
One of which, I know there's no showers, but is a flannel wash okay? I would hate to go for 7 days sweaty without anything at all. I know water's limited, but something like a flannel wash.
Yeah, so we have, that's why on the list we have wet wipes. So definitely recommend to bring wet wipes, and those with a bit of detergent in them are better. And then toilet paper is also not provided by us, so we want to make it properly hard for you.
The other question is in relation to the badges. With multiple layers on and off, if you read the words, it implies you've got to have a nationality flag and the 4 deserts one virtually on every arm, on every shirt, on every waterproof. You know what I mean? Which is seems a little bit over the top.
Actually, I'll let Mary answer that question if Mary is still here.
Oh, thank you, Rita. Well, the answer is yes. You will find that you basically will wear all of those different clothes items at different times. The only place where you don't need to have the patches on the arms are actually when you're in the tent. So if there's something that you want to sleep in, you don't need to have the patches on. But it is very, very important to have them on the waterproof. I mean, typically someone, you will bring a lightweight jacket, a long sleeve shirt, a short sleeve shirt, and then the waterproof is normally the basically the rain poncho that is clear. So you can actually that is, I should say, the one item that you don't need patches on is if you have a clear rain poncho and the patches can be seen through that.
Okay, so an armband type thing doesn't work then?
No, not on the, so the armband does not work. The patches should be either stitched on, normally any type of glue, doesn't work. It's normally stitching, or you can have the item silk screened. So more and more get the clothing silk screened.
Yes,
okay.
Silk screening is popular, and also now that postage has been a bit challenging. If you live in faraway countries, it's often proved to be a very practical thing to do as well. We have a community group of Racing the Planet people, and what's really nice is that afterwards, so many times you see posts from people that don't know each other from the races, but they see someone on the street or somewhere very random in the world wearing their race clothing, and that's how we reunite. So it's a bit of a thing for us as well, become part of the community. Any other questions, or have we answered everything?
I think there was in the chat earlier by Sandy about the berries that are the poison berries up in Lapland, and I think that hasn't been answered.
Yeah, okay. Raisa, would you like to answer that yourself, or would you like me to?
Well, I can answer and then you can fill in or correct me if you didn't like my answer. I think when you are in nature, you should always know if you are picking something and putting it in your mouth. So always make sure that you know what you are eating. We have poison berries also in at least here in the south. I don't know the names in English. Unfortunately, but we do have a lot of berries. Like most of the berries are okay, and they are very tasty and they are very healthy. But you need to know that which ones to eat.
Yeah, I think that's a good answer. Most of the berries in Lapland, so lingonberry, blueberry, cloudberry, which is looks like a raspberry, but it's orange in color. That's the iconic Lapland berry, and that's very tasty. Some raspberries as well. Most of them, 99%, are edible and very good. But as Raisa said, we know what you eat, and we'll show you those berries before, so you can feast. But don't eat mushrooms on the course, mainly because most of them are edible, but many of them need to be prepared. So just eating them raw is not a good idea.
Yeah, and also there are many poisonous mushrooms, and with those you really need to be careful.
Anything else?
Just because you're about to close it off, Rita, I'll say it quickly. The recording for this will be on YouTube, I think probably by tomorrow, and Rita will send it out to everyone who RSVP'd or whose detail we have in the Zoom. So if you don't receive it in the next day or so, or don't see it on our YouTube channel, then email Rita and she'll send you the link directly.
Okay. There's also on this screen, you see there's a couple of YouTube sessions we did in the past by Sam herself, and they're very informative. So especially if this is your first race, it's very helpful when you watch those. Then I think your questions on those topics should be all answered as well. And just at the end, I will show the map, which is here now. Can you let me know if you can't see a map? So here's the course.
We can't see it yet, Rita.
Oh, really? Okay. That's
probably just sharing the
when you
press.
share. Ah, I see. It's by. Okay, here we go. So how about now?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So zooming out. So we are. Sweden is here on the white on the side, and so you see we're very close to Sweden, and the course is in its entirety here. So you see from the terrain that there's quite a lot of, it's hilly, those are all fells. And like Carlos mentioned, the first stage would start here, and it really takes you across the Pallasfjäll range. So you'll be up for the most of the stage until you get to Camp 2, which is by a lake, by a beautiful Pallasfjäll lake. And then without going into too much stage detail anymore, I'll just scroll down so you can see all the lakes that you're passing. And you can see that you're either going around the fells or over them. This section here, I will put an annotation on. Here when we go, this is stage 4, and going over an Akaskero fell. It's very, very beautiful scenery on both sides. This is, if you've seen a picture of Carlos sitting on a tree trunk that looks like a sofa, that's from there. This is the long stage, and it goes, actually a lot of that goes on a beautiful gravel road. The reason why it's on gravel road is just because it's such a long stage, it makes it easier for you. But the beginning of it is not, so there's a lot of different kind of terrain. And then the race will finish here by the side of Ylläsfjäll. So that's the course. Okay. Still one last chance for any questions. Otherwise, I think we'll close it off or open to a chat if you guys want to talk or continue talking.
I had one question, which was about what's the toilet situation in the camps? A hole or?
No, it can't be a hole here because a lot of times we are inside the national park and it's very highly protected. So we are looking to have portaloos, which I still need to remember to order. So that would be the usual setup for toilets. And remember to bring your own toilet paper and yeah, but it's very basic.
Thanks.
What about the timing if you're on the trail? You can't always necessarily control your needs.
No, you can't. Well, we're in the nature, it's pretty free. So our race rule is that when you go on the course, just like 1,500 meters on the side. So just so that you're a little bit off the course, and then it's fine there. But don't throw any paper. So we'll give you a little plastic bag. You can basically put your sort of rubbish in that doesn't compose. But otherwise, yeah, you can go anywhere on the course as long as it's not in a sort of cultural mark or church or anything like that. It's fine.
Rita, that reminds me one thing that for the last ones that they are going to be on the back of the pack. If they by any reason leave the track to like go to the toilet or any other, or take a picture or whatever they need to do, just remember to leave the backpack in the path in case the sweepers go by and they think that there is no one there, and then they are going to be picking up all the markings. That means that when the guy is coming back to the path is not there anymore. So please leave the backpack on the path so that people know that you are there somewhere.
Yeah, that's a good reminder. Thank you, Carlos.
So are there GPS, do we carry a separate GPS, Racing the Planet GPS tracker, so you know where we are or not?
You just follow the flags and I'll take care of the GPS. But anyway, you won't be able to recharge the batteries. So it's much better if you just keep on with the flag, keep an eye on the flag. There are plenty of flags. There's no way you can get lost.
And to follow on from that, so we keep track of you when you go through every checkpoint. And if someone doesn't make it through a checkpoint in front of the sweepers, then we will be going back to look for you. But we say don't leave the path. And if you can't see a flag, then wait where you are. One last question for you, Carlos. Sorry, it's going on a bit. The vertical ascent in the stage 1 looks quite bad on the elevation chart. Can you just explain it? Someone was worried about it.
Yeah, can you show me the screen, the profile, Rita?
Yeah, and actually I'm first showing it to everybody on the map as well, so you see. So,
okay, so the question is that the question is very easy, and it's a normal question I have every race, and it's a matter of proportions. Okay, so if like this is 1 kilometer, okay, like as you can see it, that means that we make the profile like that, not to scare you, but to make you understand maybe this is a little bit over extended on the vertical size, but we make it like this on purpose so you know that there is an uphill. Okay, but if you see that the stage is around 40 kilometers on wide, so if this is 40 kilometers on wide and I put 40 kilometers like this, there is no way we are going to have a 40-kilometer race elevation. So that means that if you put the vertical proportion that it should be that means that the line of the uphill, you will barely see it because this is not a lot. Actually, Lapland is an area, well, Finland in general is an area that there is no high mountains. But to make it clear that there is an uphill, we multiply by several times the elevation gain. So you can see that that looks like climbing the Everest, but it's not going to be like that, okay? Because in the profile, if you consider that the wide is around 40 kilometers, that means that if you put it in vertical, I don't know if I'm explaining myself, it should be like almost 100 kilometers elevation gain. And that is not real, okay? So you have to flatten out the profile and until you see the real elevation gain that is much less. So don't worry, you don't need ropes or climbing skills. It's much flatter than it looks.
Carlos, so I'll follow up on that. So is that done through an actual walk? So all the ups and downs are cumulative on the 11178, or is it just done using a topo map?
It's a what? Sorry?
Oh, sorry. Was it done using a topographic map, or was it done by actually taking a GPS watch or something like that? And
No. I use a topographic map just to know where I am and to just control the path and everything. But I registered every single track with the GPS because I made it myself. Every single meter I made it myself, and then I transfer to the base camp that is a program and software, and then is where I can get the profile and everything. But the thing is that when you get the profile, you can make it like higher or lower, so you understand better the profile. This way you can see that in stage 1 the elevation gain is going to be much higher than the other ones. Okay.
Maybe the last comment from me, not about the course so much, but getting to know each other's. So there's many of you that probably know each other's already well or know others doing the same race. But if you would like to get to know others from your country, what you can do is actually, even in this call, you can give a quick hi and just to ask if anyone is here, but also other methods. So you can look at the competitor list on the website and you see the countries where people are from there, and you can email us and ask to put you in touch with them. We don't share contact details without a permission. So what we would do is email these people and ask them and give your email to them so you can get in touch. It sounds a bit complicated, but it's also a privacy issue. So that's one way. And then on Facebook, we also have the Racing the Planet community. It is called Racing the Planet Community Group. So you can find that and join there. And if you're not already there, and just message there, you can post openly and ask to get to know each other. So that's also one way. But if now on this chat there's any one of you who's not sure or don't know anybody else and would like to get to know people from your country, just feel free to open the mic and speak up.
I'm glad to answer any question on the track. If any of you guys have a doubt after this call is finished or whatever, I'm available for that as well.
Great, thank you, Rita. I'm super excited about Lapland now, even more so.
Yeah, so am I. really nice to see everybody here very, very soon, actually. But I promise that you will not see this much snow anymore. So great. So officially, thank you from all of us, all of you. Thanks for joining. Thanks for all your questions. And enjoy your training from now on. And anything at all, just email us and we'll help. And yeah, happy trails, and then see you in 4.5 months. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you, Rita.
Bye.
Thanks, everyone. See you soon.